My name is Tan Handress. I'm a student at the University of Mary Washington, and I am responding to the question, should same-sex marriage be the top priority of the LGBT civil rights movement? And my answer is yes, it should be. The legalization of same-sex marriage accomplishes a series of things for the LGBT community and requires the greatest amount of attention from the movement. I think it's important to note, first of all, that not only does the legalization of same-sex marriage allow gay couples to marry, but also transgender individuals. For many transgender people, it is extremely difficult for them to legally change their sex, and therefore even straight transgender people cannot marry their partners because they're legally viewed as the same sex. I think this is an extremely important thing to point out because oftentimes in the battles of the LGBT movement, the T gets forgotten and left behind consciously because activists think that the inclusion of gender identity will make people less sympathetic to the cause and therefore only focus on sexual orientation. Same-sex marriage is really inclusive of transgender people, brings rights to transgender people, and the legalization will benefit everybody in the community without being divisive. Same-sex marriage would also bring with it literally hundreds of rights for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender individuals. In fact, marriage grants about 300 to 400 rights to married couples just from states alone, and about 1,000 on the federal level. With marriage, couples are given rights concerning adoption of children, healthcare coverage, property ownership, hospital visitation, and funeral arrangements in the case of the death of a partner. The fact that marriage can grant LGBT people over 1,000 different rights that non-LGBT people already have access to makes it an extremely pressing issue. Same-sex marriage may be grouped together as one issue, but is literally hundreds of smaller issues that can all be resolved with one single act. Apart from just rights, same-sex marriage also promotes a positive and family-oriented image of LGBT people, which makes them more relatable to non-LGBT Americans and normalizes queer identities. In our society, families are highly valued, and by expanding the definition of family, people will see that queer is normal and start to, or this will allow the LGBT community to pursue other important issues and branch out more. Also, marriage is just necessary as the symbol of the movement because it challenges a huge cultural norm and creates a lot of controversy. And while some of that controversy is negative, it gives the LGBT movement huge amounts of visibility and attention, which is what it needs to get its message out there. Plus, it's already working. In 1996, 15 years ago, a poll was conducted by Gallup that indicated that only 32% of Americans at that time supported same-sex marriage. And now, today, Gallup did another poll that reported that 53% of Americans, the majority of Americans, now support same-sex marriage. Even since last year, that number has increased by almost 10%. So, same-sex marriage needs to be at the forefront of the movement. It is an issue which will benefit all LGBT people and grant them hundreds of individual rights. And once it succeeds, will shape the path for the LGBT movement for years to come.